Hello, friends. Good evening and a very warm welcome once again to your own Friday evening talk show. Friday evening talk shows is very popular, known as the face of the Baroda Management Association and gateway for the management students, management fraternity people. Myself, Nimil Bakshi, I'm a vice president, Baroda Management Association. Today, we're one of the So there is some network issue. So I will take care of the opening of the Friday evening talk on behalf of Param Doshi. Thanks, Param, for giving me the opportunity because being the vice president, it is very rare opportunity to take care of my own talk show, which is close to my heart because of since last decade I have handled more than 300 times this talk show. And again, the talk show is not in just general kind of Friday evening talk show. After Diwali, generally we are talking about much more emotional things and everything. But today's talk show is all the while different because it is connected with the many area in today's scenario. What we say, the India is now India has dreamed about the world लीडर विश्व गुरु इंडिया विश्व गुरु तो तब बनेगा जब इंडियन अपने आप को गुरु बनाएगा एंड इंडियन अपने आप को गुरु तभी बना पाएगा जब हम वी नो अबाउट द मैनेजमेंट थॉट एनवायरमेंट वो दिन गए जो स्लो एंड स्टेडी विन द रेस वाला अब दिन आ गया स्मार्ट वाला तो स्मार्ट वाले में क्या होना चाहिए एंड दैट्स द रिलेवेंस अबाउट द टुडे स्टॉक एनर्जी फॉलोज अटेंशन we are spending much more energy throughout the day, throughout our life, to just observe many things. Sometimes we pay the attention, sometimes we respond what we understood. But do we think that what we observe is the right thing in a right manner? कई बार बोला जाता है कि सारा का सारा एनसाइक्लोपीडिया मगअप करने से या सारा का सारा एनसाइक्लोपीडिया लाइफ में पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है कुछ लिमिटेड पार्ट से होना चाहिए and that's the beauty of the today's talk and we wish to and or organize such kind of talk show we need the very qualified speaker our today's speaker is an experience of more than 35 years for the corporate company like Blue Blast, Blue Star, and Motherson Group at very senior position. He was the branch manager of the Blue Star for Gujarat between 2000 and 2004. Oh, that means today's coach is a national coach, but he also knows the Pakka Dal Dhoklis and Dhokla Swad of the Gujarati businessman. And that's the reason that we have organized today's talks at that talk show at the right time. He is a member of the National Apex Advocacy Committee for iShare and technical body of HVAC and R Industries. He is an MBA marketing and completed a senior general management program from very reputed institute like IIM Ahmedabad. Basically, he is a leadership coach and director of corporate solution Asia of IGL. We will much more talk about his coach, about his leadership, about his training program or full year in. Let's welcome today's speaker, Mr. Ajit Pandalai. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving us opportunity well in advance. And and with Mr. Ajit Pandalai, the Samriti Dadwal is the main coordinator for today's talk. Friends, we are discussing regarding the organizing this talk since last more than 1.5 months. And I know how many times Mr. Dadwal has approached the BMA, BMS in discussion with them to organize series of. There are many program is upcoming with the coordination of our institute. So, sir, now floor is yours, and I hope the end of the session we will cover all the QA session. And Param is now online, so I am very happy and relaxed. Thank you, sir. Thanks. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction. And good evening to everyone here in this session, people who are on the Zoom, as also people who are on YouTube. And my session today is not going to be too long because I would like to give you a flavor of what leadership is as per our understanding. It's not very different, but then there is a small twist to it. And so therefore, let me begin today's session by making this claim that all results that we have so far in our lives come from conversations. And these conversations could be good conversations, could be bad conversations, could be so-so conversations. And all results that we have achieved, it could be from these conversations. I therefore invite all of you to choose a posture, a very, very powerful posture, where we are responsible for generating any result we want in areas that matter to us. That the path from where we are to where we want to go is a path of conversation. That if a few conversations do not generate the desired results, we will continue to search for the right conversation. And finally, I would like to say, if people are not delivering results, we are probably not having the right requisite conversations with them. Therefore, the focus of leadership is always on us. Now, my coach, Samir, explained this so well to me through a lovely story, which is a true story. So Samir was in a training program with a large German company, and they had a manufacturing plant in India. So the head of the plant mentioned to Samir that he had a problem with one of his colleagues who was in the management team and was not generating the results that was expected of him. So Samir asked him, did he have all the required conversations? To which he said that, yes, I personally had all the possible conversations that I could have with this gentleman, but he is just not producing the results that I want. In effect, what was he saying? That he could do nothing more than what he has already done. Technically, if you see, the plant head was disempowered, and he did not actually know that he was disempowered. He therefore wanted something outside of him to solve his problem. So my coach asked him if he had all the required conversation. Now, what should he do? To which he said he didn't know, and therefore he wanted Samir's help. My coach then suggested to him, if you think you tried your best and he was not in any way responding, and you don't know how to help him out, why don't you ask him to leave the organization? To which the plant head was a little shaken, and he said, no, I can't ask him to leave, because he had certain very strong skills in the areas required for the plant. And moreover, the CEO would not allow this to happen. So Samir, hearing this, said, so why don't you leave? To which both of them had a hearty laugh. The question that I have for every one of you who's listening, if you or I were in a similar situation, what choices do we really have? I see that there are 4 possible choices. We could ask the person to leave. We could leave the job. That is the second option. The third option is that we act like victims and be in this situation for as long as we can till one of us leaves the organization. And the fourth option is that we could have the required missing conversation. Honestly, if you really look at all this, we have very limited choice. So the solution, therefore, is to have the missing conversation. Even if it didn't work, continue to look for, continue to search for that conversation that generates the result that you want. During the lunch break, Samir wrote down a set of questions and gave it to the plant head so that he could ponder over these questions during lunchtime. And the questions were very, very simple. The first question was, are you willing to make a commitment? Are you willing to make a commitment to generate the results for your plant? Question one. Question two, if you are making this commitment and if anyone in your team is not generating the required result, would you look for what is it that you are not doing and enable this person to generate the result? That was the second question. The third question, are you committed to having these missing conversations with your team member? Fourth, if these conversations did not work, will you give up your commitment for the plan's results? Lastly, do you trust your commitment? After the lunch was over, my coach, Samir, invited the plant manager or the plant head to the front of the room and requested him to respond to these questions in front of the group. It was clear and observable that the awareness he got from asking and answering these fundamental questions was transformational. His embodiment shifted, and so did his energy and language. There was a change in his tone, and he stood straight and centered in front of the room. And he stated very, very powerfully to a room full of senior people, I can now see that I was being a victim. I declare here that I stand for the results of my plant. I take responsibility for not having the missing conversations and not supporting my management team members. The entire team stood up and gave him a standing ovation and saw this huge shift in his posture. Now, this leads to the question, why conversation? The common sense understanding of a conversation is speaking and hearing. Actually, this understanding is grossly inadequate and is blind to the power that is there in the conversation. Conversation is the interaction of human beings that creates action, meaning, listening, moods and emotions, and most importantly, the future. Conversations are not just words, but the whole body reaction that is provoked when we interact in language. Conversations have the power to move us from power over others to power with others, so that we are on the same page with the fellow human being and experience the same reality. So here's a statement that I would like to make. Very important statement. How you see the world determines your future, your possibilities, and your actions. As a leader, if you embody this claim, you will begin to lead your life, your team, and your organization in a whole new manner and generate results that were previously unavailable to you. That's the power. What you see is not just a function of what is out there. What you see is always a function of how you see. So it's not just what you see, it is how you see. You see what you are structured as an observer to see. So there is one world of facts that we live in, and there is another world that we observe. The physical world is the same for all of us. However, the world that you observe is unique to you. It is exclusively your creation. And let me take this through an example. Ram is the CEO of XYZ company. Now, this is a fact. Ram is the CEO. That cannot change. Ram is a brilliant CEO, or Ram is a terrible CEO. This depends on the observer that you are. It's not a fact. It's how you look at it, how you see it is what is Ram. The physical world you cannot change. However, the world that you observe is your creation. Unfortunately, most people are blind to this creation of theirs because usually this is automatic and they hold this to be the truth. Most of us are aware of a wonderful story which happened some time back of two shoe salesmen from England who went to Africa to explore business opportunities for shoes. One of the salesmen, seeing that people were barefoot, quickly wrote back to his boss saying that there is no opportunity here because people don't wear shoes. Whereas The second salesman sent back a message to his boss saying that there is a huge opportunity here because nobody wears shoes. Now, the fact is that nobody wears shoes. But the observer of both these salesmen are so different. Now, this is exactly what I was talking about a little while ago of the physical world of facts and the world of what we observe. In leadership programs, we often speak of this through another example, which is known as pens, problems, and possibilities. Now, pens are physical entities. They exist independent of the observer that you are. This is a fact. Problems and possibilities we cannot feel or touch with your hands. They do not exist independent of the observer. If the observer can see it, they exist. So, problems and possibilities are not facts like pen. They are a way of seeing the fact. As leaders, we need to learn to observe our lives, always having abundance of possibilities. We need to develop the skill of listening for possibilities ourselves and then support our team to do so. If you listen for possibilities, you will obviously find them. So you need to wear the lens to see the possibilities. At the Institute for Generative Leadership, we use the term to describe this. Assertions are claims of facts, whereas assessments are opinions, judgments, or subjective statements. As the example that I gave earlier, Ram is a CEO of XYZ company. That's an assertion. Ram is brilliant at his work. That is an assessment. So I don't know how many of you have your pens and papers, but I would request you to, maybe after the end of the session, during the Q&A, I would request you to list down 8 facts about yourself. Okay? And maybe in the open house session, we will discuss this. So take a minute. I will wait for a minute. And I request you to either think or write about 8 facts about yourself. I hope you've completed the exercise, though I didn't wait for a minute and I was finding it a little odd to just sit down and be silent. So do take time out and write 8 facts about yourself. And it would be very interesting to discuss this at the end of the program. To take it forward, observation is a key leadership practice. Leadership is not about concepts. It is a skill that needs to be developed through rigorous practice. So let's ask ourselves, why observe the observer? Why should we observe? The short answer to that is it's only when you become, it's only when you observe, you become aware. And if you're not aware, you are in a blind spot. Awareness means that something has been distinguished in a perceptual field. And it gives us the potential to pay attention to it and put it into language. Awareness creates choice. To be unaware, like I explained, is to be blind. And I'd like to explain this through another example. And this is all examples of my coach. So I am very proud to present them. So in one of his coaching sessions, there was this gentleman called John, who's a director of a large consulting company in the US. So John spoke to Samir and said that I think I have a lot of experience with me, and now I want to start blogging or writing about my experience so that others can benefit from it. However, he added a clause. He said that I would not like to dilute the subject. I would like to maintain the standard that I am at. So my coach, Samir, asked him, that's interesting, but if you want to develop that standard, how are you going to do this? And this actually opened the eye of John, because he realized that to reach a standard, he had to practice. And how he had to do it? He had to start writing somewhere. He had to start blogging. He had to start putting things on paper. And unless he does this, he cannot develop the standards that he wanted. And therefore, you can see how the observer in him shifted him to change his assessment of standard. So to choose to observe is to choose to be aware of your awareness and attention. Awareness and attention are the two foundations of our power to act and interact with another. Now, all organizations, irrespective of their size, and all individuals are interested in results. But what generates results? The short answer is action. Results are a function of the action that you take. However, if the actions that you take do not, what should I do? This is a question. Maybe I'll take more actions. If I still don't have results, maybe I take better actions. Maybe that I work harder. And finally, after all this, if I still haven't achieved my result, I may just drop what I'm looking for. This is where the observer comes in place. We call this at the Institute of Generative Leadership the observer action result model. All results come from action. Every action that you take comes from the observer that you are. Now, let's look at the observer that we are in the way that we look at it at the Institute of Generative Leadership. We use the acronym SELF, SELPH, to explain about the observer. The first alphabet, which is S, stands for somatics, or this body. A person's body exposes how he or she is feeling internally. And if you see this, you can see this. And if you observe this, you can see this in most people. A good leader uses the signs shown by the body of an individual or of himself. Your body actually gives others a good understanding and gives you to a good understanding of your feelings. So if I have to be an observer, I have to understand how is he or she in the body that he is, and what is his body stating. This is a phenomenal leadership practice, and we have another program which covers this, so we can get into that in real depth. The second alphabet is emotions. Emotions or moods typically are reactions that is triggered by an event. So when an event happens, that triggers an emotion in us. You cannot disengage a human being from his moods or emotions. Emotions actually impact the productivity of an individual. If an individual is in the emotion of ambition, you will see that there is a very high level of productivity. If an individual is in the emotion of resignation, you will find that his productivity or results are low. So this is something apart from the body that we can observe. The third alphabet is L, which stands for language. Most people understand language to be descriptive, but they are blind to the fact that language has a tremendous generating power. It is actually language that creates the future and the present. So language, observing language is also a very critical function. The next is the alphabet P, which is practice. Now, if we want to shift the observer that we are, we have to shift the practice that I am automatically in. So maybe the practice that I am in is to be very pushy. But if I am not a good observer, I will not be able to shift this practice of being pushy on others. And therefore, being an observer of practice of yourself and of others is very, very important. And this helps us in changing our practices. Now, this is again a deep subject because it's related to habits, and habits are something that we all can change. And the last alphabet is H, which stands for history. We are all our history, because this is how we have grown up. This is how we have interacted in environment and got impacted by. So our present has an impact of the history that we are carrying. So if I know this, if I'm aware of this, that my historical story is not in line to the results that I want to generate, I can shift my story and bring in the results that I want to generate. Said simply, when there is a shift in the observer of an individual, it means while the external environments don't change, however, the person inside us begins to observe the world differently. There is possibilities that come up. We can change emotions. We can change or bring in new actions. And we can also change in the way that others see us. So the observer is a coherence of this acronym called self. So let's go back to what we started with. Actions produce results, and actions come from the observer that we are. There is a direct relationship between the results that we generate and the observer that we are. So if I go back to the posture that I said that we all need to take, and which is a powerful posture, that we are responsible for generating the results we want in the areas that matter to us. If this is the posture that we want to take, we have to be an excellent, a good observer. I would say a good observer, thereby taking the right or the required action and producing the result that we want. So with this, I would like to conclude that what we mean by energy follows attention is this, that whatever I do, whatever there is the power in me or the energy in me to perform is based on the attention, the observer that I am. So thank you so much. And with this, I conclude my talk. Questions? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. One question I have received via in our WhatsApp group site from BMA members. That's what you say about vision statement for the life. most of the time people are say the short-term goal, long-term goal, then observation part. Sometimes people say whatever I believe is the best part because I am a qualified certain level of things. Because being the Gujarati person, when we say about the vision, people say कि कल करे सो आज करे सो अब, and when we say about the long term planning and then you act. Gujarati business believe that next 6 months में क्या होने वाला है उसका सोचो, बाद में बात की बात. So we don't know what will happen, and the corporate people design the big CRM bank KPI. So vision statements के बारे में क्या आपका? What is your opinion? Self.
So see, vision and mission are directions. Okay, and we believe at IGL that is required because that is the goal that you're working for. However, we have a very fundamental way of looking at vision and mission. And that fundamental way of looking at vision and mission, we use the word care. Okay. As human beings, we are all a bundle of cares.
Okay.
You know, whatever I do, I am focusing on my care.
Okay.
Now, these cares could be personal to me. These cares could be within my workspace. These cares could be within the team. These cares could be in society. These cares could be in the family. So cares actually drive human beings. And if you really see that whatever you do, if you are aware of your care, your action will produce the results that you want.
Right.
Have I answered your question, or are you looking for something different?
No. Something about the care, what you say, that's something, but in professionalism in today's scenario, how you feel that the word,
How do you?
sometimes, how do you feel about the word care is more important? Because selfishness is also sometimes, we can say work, people are side.
Yes, true. I mean, we don't use the word selfishness because it's a care. It's a care, right? Now, I care for my health. I care making money.
Right.
I care to take care of my children's education. I care about, my organization. I care about my organization growing big by this. So these are cares. So all your actions will relate to the cares that you have.
Okay. Right. What do you say about the further? Because what I mean to this, when I discuss with Ms. Dadwal regarding this kind, at least honestly understood, this is the capsule. Whatever you want to say to the participant, but there must be some 2 days or 3 days possibility, because this is a very tough subjects, and to cover these subjects in 45 minutes. But frankly speaking, I am continuously using the pause from my side. Alright, next topic, next topic, next level. आपने तो गागर में सागर भर दिया 45 minutes. But what do you say? How much time required, and how can we move ahead? Because there are many members are connected in this YouTube side, and they are continuously asking me. So, is there any possibility to organize further program for this kind of?
Oh yes. So see. We have been offering very selectively to people a very structured program through video called Building Leadership Muscle, or Building Your Leadership Muscle. Now, this is a video series where you will be aware of what I just now spoke about: care and action. Okay, and this technically should be completed in 3 days, and it gives you an opportunity to put in your reflection, and also gives you an opportunity to start practicing what is being taught there. See, the way at IGL we look at leadership, leadership is like a game,
Right.
right? You can only be better if you keep practicing.
Right.
If you just want to know it and keep it as a concept, then
Right.
we will not be in a position to help you build your leadership muscle.
Right.
Whatever you learn in this program, you must put it into practice.
Obviously.
And when you put it into practice, it transforms you, it gives you a huge, I would say a huge opportunity. See, I was not in IGL. In my 35 years of life, I joined IGL about a year and a half back. And today, when I met Samir, and I was telling Samir, I wish I had known this 20 years back. It would have changed my complete perspective of leadership.
Yes, yeah. Obviously, there is at least at BMA, what we understood regarding the management, that
Yes.
this kind of program can polish your life. It can cover up the corner of the life where you sometimes feel hurdle, in whether in the
Yes.
career, whether in the personal life. But definitely this kind of program will help. And yes, what you say absolutely right. Unless you accept, इसीलिए कई बार फ्राइडे नी टॉक ओपनिंग में जब इन पर्सन प्रोग्राम होता है, वी ऑलवेज रिक्वेस्ट टू पीपल, आपको दिमाग यहाँ पे अप्लाई नहीं करना है, आपको डाउट्स पूछना है.
बिल्कुल.
स्पीकर जो बता रहे हैं उनके साथ पैरेलल आपकी सोच को मिक्स करने के बाद एक नया क्वेश्चन जनरेट नहीं करना है. क्योंकि what speaker say, what you are speaking, that is a possibility after learning, after referring many books, many thought process, just like you continuously taking the name of Mr. Samir and you're putting the example of his live experience. So after such an experience, you are giving the talk. And that's the beauty, that why this 45 minutes talk, with why I love this talk throughout the life, because in 45 minutes, at least 5-6 book का तो रिव्यू इसमें आ गया आज. I have noted down something like care के बारे में आपने बताया, ये सारी चीजें, and again I will check the YouTube video and point out. तो बीएमए के मैनेजमेंट में काम करना है, लेकिन साथ में मेरा भी थोड़ा सेल्फिशनेस तो है पर्सनल लाइफ के लिए. Thanks a lot. This is a very good question from the Mr. Ajit Kumar Jain. Mr. Jain is asking, what's the posture one should be to handle as a father teenage children to keep them use social media judicially? अरे बाप रे, ये तो burning question आया, Mr. Jain.
So I see this posture is not just for organizations. Let me kind of bring in this context.
Right.
Whatever we talk about, leadership is about life.
Right.
It's about your personal life in your family. It's about your work life. It's about society. It's about anything that you want to actually take. So what is the posture that you have to take? You have to take the posture that whatever results that you want to generate, you are responsible for it. That is the posture that we are asking you to take.
Right.
Okay. Now, if that is so, if I am responsible for the result that I want to have, which is my children should not be spending time on YouTube or all the other social media activity, and I'm responsible for, I want that outcome. What do we say? We say that you should have the right conversation. Right? Now, the challenge with conversation is that you don't know what exactly is the missing conversation.
Right.
So you have to constantly keep practicing. What is this missing conversation that I can bring into play so that, I get that result? But if I say that, hey, listen, मैंने सब कुछ ट्राई किया, अब तो होगा नहीं, then I'm disempowered. I'm not taking a posture of responsibility.
Right.
And that is why we talk about observer, we talk about action, we talk about results. So the observer that you are is very important. And that is why I spoke about all the 5 elements of being an observer. Now, if you are the kind of observer that you need to be, you will see what kind of conversations you need to have.
Right.
And each individual is so different, right?
Right. Absolutely right. I think thanks to Mr. Jain that you point out wonderful question, and at Program Management Association Friday Evening Talk Show, we'll invite some specific speaker regarding the parenting part. Because what Mr. Ajit says, that we have noticed that most of the time as a parent, we say no, 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 don't do, don't do, don't do, don't do, don't do. Then sometimes children also take it as a negative part. कि जिंदगी में करना ही कुछ नहीं है तो करना क्या है, तो करना वही है जो पापा ने दिवाली ज्यादा देखी है तो पापा बोले वो सही. And I think generation is changed. It's
Yeah.
absolutely changed because I am exactly on the half age as 50 years that now I am entering from the digital India, and even though my son is studying engineering students, so I have to take care every time when I discuss with him. I have to be ready with the latest knowledge, latest gazette updates, everything. Otherwise, immediately will catch me. What you say, absolutely right. Observe, and I think of what you was observe in the throughout the talk, that's a very very important. तो हमें ऐसा लगता है सर कि इतने से तो हमारा काम होने वाला नहीं है, खाली ऑब्जर्वर्स के बारे में है. तो व्हाट मिस्टर दडवाल इज मेंशन इन द चैट बॉक्स, सो वी विल कोऑर्डिनेट विद योर इंस्टीट्यूट and let us if possible that we will share all the videos and program it is to our members, that those who are interested to think something on the long term planning. Otherwise, every Friday, this kind of talk show will organized by the BMA, and unless you go in the depth, you can't get the fragrance. प्रोग्राम को ऑब्जर्व 45 मिनट्स में मैं क्या करूं, मैं इतना करूं कि ये प्रोग्राम मेरी लाइफ में इम्पोर्टेंट है. व्हाट परम, व्हाट यू से? परम, आर यू ऑनलाइन?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, expert Param, what your importance and what you say about today's program?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
I would not call myself an expert because just as all of us here, we are here to learn, we are here to know something new, and we are fortunate rather that we have such wonderful speakers to give us this new knowledge, to give us this new learning. Sometimes it's not about just like it's not something that you will learn all. It will always be new. Sometimes you know things, but you don't know them fully. So the entire talk today, it was very wonderfully delivered. And Ajit sir, you were really very fantastic. And rather, I would say one important quality about you is you were speaking very patiently. So it was just as if you were teaching us, as if you were teaching children. That is how you explain things, and that I think has helped us really absorb all of your words and all of your teachings really well. And on behalf of this entire team of Friday Evening Talks and Baroda Management Association, I would like to heartily thank you for sparing your time and giving us such a wonderful session, such wonderful insights with anecdotes, with stories, and in a very lucid way. Also, thanks to the president of BMA, Deepak sir, and Secretary Nimil sir for being with us, for supporting the FET team, and for taking this innovative and wonderful concept and wonderful experience on and on. Thank you so much. And also special thanks to all the participants for attending this seminar on Zoom as well as on YouTube.
Thank you so much. And for on behalf of IGL, we would really happy that all of you gave us this opportunity so that we could bring in, our understanding of leadership. Like Mr. Nimil mentioned that, leadership is a very deep subject. And what we practice is something that we want everybody to kind of embody these practices, because if you don't embody these practices, it's not possible to be a good leader. Is that what is what we understand? So thank you so much. I think we will share with you all the details of the building leadership muscle program, and we will give this program to your members so that they can complete this program, and following which you need a session again on building your leadership muscle in terms of some Q&A only, not a talk show. We can have a Q&A session on building leadership muscle.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sure.
We can just have a Q&A session, no talk. It's just that whatever questions that you have in BLM, we can kind of have a Q&A session. And I'll be very happy to take this session with Baroda Management Association members and take this whole generative leadership practices to another level.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Actually, honestly speaking, whatever I refer in the first mail from Mr. Adwal regarding your company has decided to generate the 1 lakh leadership skill, and that I can at least reflect in your language, reflect in your talk, and even though at the end of the session you are offering one more session for Q&A. That means go through the video. If you have any doubt regarding, you are ready to address this thing. That's the, I think, wonderful thing. Thanks a lot about your honesty. Thank you
so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adwal, for your efforts and continuous approach to the BMA. Deepak Bhai is there in our panelist side, but maybe I think he's on mute side. Is it having the vehicle? Okay. So friends, last but not least, very important regarding the next Friday evening talk show, and BMA has come up with a series of programs. One of the management development program of full day session of art of negotiation by Ms. Deval Joshi. Another program regarding the business analyst that will organize on the 20th/7th, and that's a half day session in the morning. So all the details are available in our website as well as in the Facebook page. Or if you need any information regarding the same, please contact us. Thanks a lot again. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night. Good night.